Hey, John, I want to talk about the urgency of this because November 3rd, that's the general election, right? And we're talking about mail-in voting and absentee voting and being registered. Different states and different cities have different dates as to when you need to be registered for these types of mail-in balloting. So, we're here in the middle of August, darn near. How quickly are you encouraging people to get involved? Because again, there seems to be kind of a window here where the urgency needs to be pretty important.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I mean, we're still in the middle of some primary seasons going on right now too. So the sooner the better. I would say this kind of general safeguard, just to talk about absentee balloting and all that, especially for someone like, Cam, if he's living in New Orleans but voting in Arizona. Call your county clerk's office, call the Board of Elections back where you're registered to vote, and make sure they have the proper forwarding address. Make sure you're registered to vote there. Or you could walk into the Board of Elections or the county clerk's office where you currently are and change where you're registered to vote. I mean, it's still, you're going to change who you're going to vote for locally, but at the national level, you're still, those same people are going to be on the ballot. So there are opportunities there, but the sooner the better. We're getting there. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you the cutoff date, but I know from my past experience it's coming up pretty well. But I know throughout the process, there's a lot of times, even when I was on the campaign trail, you're going knocking on doors and people aren't registered to vote. And the people that you run into, usually their staff is walking behind them and they have the forms that you literally just fill out and drop a stamp on it and put it in and you're registered to vote. So it's really, really simple. And you can get those forms at the post office, at the county office, usually at your municipal office. They're all over the place. We just got to encourage people to go out, get them, sign up, and mail it in.
I just want to do a quick follow-up because John mentioned something that I thought was really important. There are a lot of primaries that are happening ongoing. Today is actually a state primary in Tennessee. So Tennessee is voting today. So registering to vote, I think the best time to do it is right now. It only takes a few minutes to do it. Like he said, everyone should do it. If you register to vote now, you'll be registered in time for the November 3rd election. And once you're registered to vote, you're always registered. You don't have to keep doing it year after year. But if you do move and you do move states and locations, you do have to re-register to vote and make sure that you change your address. But like he said, there are tons of resources out there, and you can also do it online.
Now, I'm glad you said you can do it online because, John was talking about going to post offices and municipal buildings, but we are in the middle of this pandemic. And a lot of people may be encouraged to stay home. So the online part of it, is there any, singular website people can go to maybe find out how to do this online?
Sure. I think that's a great way for me to plug I Am a Voter. So you can go to iamavoter.com and we'll take you through the voter registration process. You can also go through your local.gov page, but the quick and easy of that is go to iamavoter.com. And you're absolutely right. COVID is sort of affecting our lives in so many different ways. And so if you're a little bit nervous about going to the polls in November, again, it's a great time to vote by mail because that's safe and that's easy. And it's all about making sure that you don't have to choose between being healthy and voting this November. We want to make sure that you always are able to cast your vote. So vote by mail is the way to go.
All right, Cam, I want to come to you on this because this is, you and I have dealt with a lot of things on the social justice front, social media fronts, things like this. But you players are getting hit with an awful lot right now. Okay, you're dealing with the pandemic. You're reporting to a training camps that are different than you've ever done before. Social justice issues has been a huge topic. Now we're talking about this voter education issue. Oh, yeah, and there's football. Is this a lot?
Look, when you talk about, nobody can foresee this COVID and what it's created, COVID-19 pandemic, these unprecedented times where, even we're in buildings and I still have, the mask to put on while I'm around other people and protecting myself and my teammates. You talk about the energies that have been put forward by so many different young people. I mean, in New Orleans, we were marching every day for at least for a week and a half and really trying to create an act of change. But you look out in the crowds amongst amongst the demonstrations that are happening, and it's all positive push. It's all positive movement about how to go best about being, creating change for our nation to move as a whole. And we just talk about just social injustices and just realizing how much of a disparaging system that we're a part of, and trying to bring everything closer. This energy is being created, and as we push for, the voting and voicing your opinions through your ability to vote, that's keeping the same energy. Now, it also, by marching in the evening, you still have to work out twice, and one in the morning, one before lunch. But it's just about having your priorities straight. These are important times. These are important things that you have to do in our lives, that can hopefully better it for our future. So, my kids will see the product of what we're doing now. And in that same energy, again, it's about, being back in building, and staying safe, keeping your teammates safe, doing protocol, following procedures, to get back to the field. For the sport that I love, for the sport that we love to watch. It's just something that you have to deal with. It's not a lot. It's just something that going forward, you're never going to really have been faced a time like this. And at the end of the day, again, it's about keeping that same energy. The same energies we put forth into working out is the same energies you're going to get with the demonstrations, the protests, if you will, of trying to make the world understand where we're coming from. And at the same time, it's about pushing forward a positive mindset of we've come far, but we still have so much more to go. And that's the same push you can put into the voters registration. We've done a lot, but if we can just get, as John said, that last 100 million to votes, if we can all come together as a nation and put forth that same energy, that's really going to tell us how far we can go as a nation.
Wow. Hey, John, when you hear that, now, John, I want you to put on your locker room cap, but also your NFL executive cap for some perspective here. Because, players have been doing stuff in the community forever, right? But when you were playing, was there ever this type of discussion about doing things outside of football? And then now that you're in an executive position and you're kind of looking at things from a different lens, seeing players like what the Saints are doing, what Cam was just talking about, being able to compartmentalize their focuses and their energy and continue doing their day job, so to speak.
It was never, for the longest time, and I know Cam was probably around when coaches were doing this. You didn't, in the locker room, you never talked about religion, you didn't gamble or deal with money, you didn't talk about politics, because that truly, in a lot of places divides people. And, in this new era, and this is the great thing about our country, is, your freedom of speech and your ability to push for change that other people don't necessarily want, but the masses in the democracy will succeed. That's why getting out to vote is the important part, because it's the will of the people. It's not the will of the government. That's why the Constitution starts with "we the people." It is our government. It's not the government telling us what to do. It's us telling our government how we want this place to work. And obviously, there's constraints that are in the Constitution and the other systems, the courts and all that keep everybody honest playing on that field. But if you want change, voting is the way to do it, because you truly, and I know people get uncomfortable when I do this, but spending the 4 years I did on Capitol Hill, there are some old heads there that don't get what the younger people want. And I was one of those young people. I was there in my 30s, and it was one of those things where you sit there and you say, this guy has been in Congress as long as I've been alive. Has he experienced, how much the world has changed since then, and what this country has done, and how people are thinking, and how people are adapting to change, and what the future is looking for them? This country, throughout the evolution of it, is all about change, and it's about changing within the structure of the Constitution that our forefathers made. Which all of this is possible. We just got to continue to grow what we're doing and continue to push, and it'll eventually happen.